Hello. We'll now do a demonstration of SmartOutlook4TFS. SmartOutlook provides a variety of different function points. One of the function points is the ability to convert an email into a work item. So I have an email here. I'll open that up. To convert this into a work item, I will click on this button, New Work Item from Mail. I will select a work item type. I'll choose to attach the email to the work item. All the attachments in the email also will get attached to the work item, and click OK. So at which point the subject line becomes the title of the work item, and the body becomes the detail of the work item, including the images and all the other formatted content of the body. At which point you can fill out the other properties if you like and simply click Save. This will then go and create a work item. So in this case, work item 191 has been created. The other thing you can do is that if you were to send an email to somebody, you can insert work items as tables, where you can either search by ID, text, or run a query. Then select the work items you want to, and click OK. This will insert a tabular format. In a tabular format, all the work items. This is the work item ID, the priority, work item type, and so on. The ID will take the user to the web access and will open up the work item in TFS web access. You can also attach a given work item, an email to a given work item. So if I simply click on this, I can now select a work item or more and click OK, and this will attach this email to all of these work items. Now, to connect to your team project, as usual, you will click on Connect. And when you click on Connect, it'll ask you which team project you want to connect to. You can select from here TFS on-prem or perhaps TFS or Visual Studio Online. They both are supported. And once you connect to the project, you can then click on Work Item Management or the Smart Outlook option, at which point you'll be taken to the Backlog Management area. Now in the Backlog Management area, you will see that if this is collapsed, you will simply expand these, and under your project name you will see two different main options, Backlog Management and Query. So the queries are being picked up from TFS, and so you can simply expand the query, click on a query, at which point it runs the query, shows you the result of the query, and or you can click on Backlog Management. So let's go to Backlog Management. Now, Backlog Management is a very interesting thing that we have done within Outlook. This allows you to configure for each of the backlog management area, what is the workflow of information you want to create in TFS? So for example, in this particular backlog management option, you can create a feature. So you can say my feature 1, whatever is the name of the feature, and you can then continue to create different work items in this way. From top here, and it adds it to the top level. Now, if you click the plus sign, it gives you several options. Now, the option that it gives you, you actually have the ability to configure what options to be shown once you've created the feature for this backlog management option. So I may then go and create a product backlog item. As a user, I can so that, and then flesh out the acceptance criteria and so on, and click save. And from the product backlog item, you can then further define product backlog items or impediments, and that is again because it is configured to provide that capability. Like so. Now you'll see under impediment there is no plus sign. That means according to the workflow defined, there's nothing else that can be defined underneath this. So the one thing it does, it gives you the ability to define what the work item decomposition is going to be like. The second thing it does is that it uses this workflow to filter out data. So since it only allows you to define features, and features can have sub-features or impediments or PBIs, only those work items will be shown that fits into the profile of the workflow. The second thing you can do is that I could go on this PBI, and if I now define another product backlog item, it creates it as a sibling of the current object of the work item, like so. And if I go to impediment, because at this level, at the third level under the PBI, you're allowed to have both a product backlog item and an impediment, I can now create a sibling here for a PBI. Okay. So you can really use this for very rapid authoring. So if you're in a chat session, if you're in a meeting, you can use this to very rapidly author your requirements. You also have the ability to take a product backlog item and simply drag and drop it under another one. And when you take a tree, so there's two items here, the parent and the child, and I take this and drag and drop it there, you will see the entire subtree has been moved. Now, when you have selected a given work item, say this one, you will see on the right-hand side, there are many options. So firstly, it'll show you the name of the work item with a hyperlink. If you click on this, this will open up TFS Web Access. If you click on the Open button, it will open up the detailed window of the work item. If you click on Email, you can now email this work item with all the details in it to someone. You can, in this particular view, you will see not only the properties in the description, but also all the link types in it. So in one place, you have access to all this information. If you hit refresh, it will refresh the content in here in case the data has been updated in TFS. This also shows you when the object was created and by who. The second thing you can do in here is you can click on links. When you click on links, it'll show you all the different work item types, and that are all the different work item types that have been linked to this particular feature, along with the link type that it's linked with and the state it is in. And you can at any time double click a given work item to open up the details window. You can also create other linked objects. So if I wanted to create a task, you can just create a task directly from here. And not only are we creating a task now, but this task is going to be linked to the selected work item. So this task has been created and it's linked to that work item. So now you're creating linked work items. You can choose to link to, so I could go here and I could say link to, And I could select from here, for example, let me search for the word user in a given work item. And then I can select this particular work item or multiple work items and link it to the selected work item. So you don't have to jump around. You can just stay here and do a lot of productive work. You can also select the linked work item and delete the work item. Delete the link to the work item. You're not deleting the work item. You're simply deleting the link between this feature and that product backlog item, and it's gone. The other thing you can do is you can have discussion. When you're having discussion, you can go to the discussion tab. Firstly, if there's any discussion that's happened on that work item, you will see the discussion down here. And now I can start typing. Let's make sure that EDI is incorporated into this flow. And then we can go ahead and add that feedback. And of course, anybody looking at this work item in any of the other Smart Office products or in Visual Studio or TFS Web Access or anywhere else that provides TFS data access, you will see this discussion happening. So now you're having very fluid discussion on a given work item across the board. The other thing you have is the ability to provide and view feedback. So if you click on the feedback tab, you can now go in and you can say, I love this. I love the detail in this feature, but let's make sure that that we implement using latest version of .NET. And I'll give it a 5-star as I would approve it, and I'll submit my feedback. Now, as different people provide feedback on this particular item, this will keep showing up here. So you can always click on refresh and it'll update this data. And so you may have many people providing feedback. You can see all the feedback down here. And so you see the summary in here. You can click on the feedback ID. This will open up the feedback response detail window, at which point not only can you see the feedback provided and what was the rating provided, but you can now assign this to one of your team members and or close it if the feedback has been dealt with. Now this feedback work item is also linked to the purchase processing workflow on which the feedback was provided. And therefore, this relationship between the feature and the feedback is now available again everywhere the TFS client is available. So you can see this in Smart Word, you can see this in TFS Web Access, and so on. So the feedback mechanism is very interesting because this provides a managed feedback process. Now, the other thing that that you can do within this grid is you can filter. So one way of filtering is I could just go here and I could start to type in update, and anything with the word update will be visible here. You will see that if I have the word some impediment here at the 3rd level, but if I start to type in impediment, even though it's the 3rd level and the parent doesn't show up, the result does show up. So that's a very interesting filter mechanism that you have here. Not only can you filter or search by a given column, but you can actually do it by multiple columns. Where you have drop-down values, you can also click on this little filter icon and then search which work item you want to look at. So now you can see this is the PVI is the only one I'm looking at. And when you filter, or when you filter like this, you will see that this option opens up at the bottom. All right, so when you filter, you can click on this and you can select something like, say, a product backlog item. You will then see this option shows up at the very bottom, and in this area, this is the filter parameter. Now you can always delete this filter and then you'll see everything. Let's go back and say, yes, I want to see all the PBIs. I want to also see, for the PBIs, only items that are new. Now, again, you see this option that there are two filter parameters here, where the work item type is product backlog item and the state is new. You can click on edit, and now you can actually create a more detailed filter as well. So you can continue to add other parameters in here and create more customized advanced filtering can be done through this. Okay. Now you can also sort any of the columns, and so sorting filtering capability exists here very nicely. I'll go ahead and get rid of the filtering, and so now you can see all the information in here. The way that the query area works, the query area works very similarly. So when you select the query, you see the query result, and not only do you see the query result here, but you have the all the same information as in the backlog options. So on the right hand side, you can see the view, the links, the discussion, the feedback on the selected work item. So it works very similar to the backlog management space, except you're not creating content. You're not creating work item underneath each of the areas. However, you can create any given work item through the add option, but you're not creating in between, and you're not creating the parent-child relationship and so on. So this is a simple query, the ability to run a query and see the results. Whereas this is a more advanced option to not only view the data based on a certain workflow, but also be able to author in this view. So that is fundamentally Smart Outlook. It gives you the ability to convert emails into work items, attach emails to work items. It gives you the ability to manage your workflow. You can create custom workflow for the work items in order to see data in a specific way or author in a specific way. And so the other thing in this context, I'll just say, is that in the feature to test case in here, the logic is that you can have features, PBIs, and test cases. So since that's a filter, you will not see defects, you will not see task or other work items in this view on the in the center panel. All right. If you want more information, particularly step-by-step guide and videos that show you how to do specific things, please visit modernrequirements.com and click on Get Started. Thank you.